Hello everyone, I'm Wycliffe from Bao Designs. Today I would like to introduce you to Blender 3D. This is an awesome open source 3D creation suite which you can use for modeling, rigging, animations, simulations, rendering, compositing, motion tracking, video editing, and even game creation. So it's a really nice suite to get your hands on, and the fact that it's open source means that everyone can be able to access it online and download it, and you're able to use it for all your projects, from basic hobbies to even commercial production or even 3D printing. So Blender is a really nice software which we're going to use. In this introduction tutorial series, I'd like to take you through a few projects to introduce you to Blender, from making a pot to making a xylophone, an umbrella, and even a wheel. Now, once we make the wheel, we're going to do a small animation for it so that we get the wheel to spin. So thank you very much. And Blender is something quite nice that I would encourage all of you to get started despite your age. And I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun. Now, first of all, we'll start by downloading Blender and installation. To install Blender, you'll need to go to the Blender site, which is blender.org. I'll post the link in the description. And as you can see, when you get to the site, there are a number of things, information, and it tells you all the many things and possibilities of Blender and what you can actually do with it. So to download it, you'll click on this button. It's an open source, so it means it's free to use for any purpose and forever. Quite nice. So you go to the site and then you're able to download it. If you're on Windows, if you're on Mac or Linux, you're able to download it. And I've already done that, so I'll open it right up and then we get started. So let me just open a new one. So this is the first screen that you start with. You'll click on this and then you'll find it starts with a default 3D window. So on this side you have the toolbox, and on this side you have a panel which you can select a number of features. At the bottom you have the timeline when you're using animations. And Blender allows you to fully customize it. It has a number of environments and scenes, and since the code is accessible, you are able to even program and do a number of things. Now, when you start on the first screen, you find that you have a default camera, a cube, and a light, and you even have a grid display. So to move around, first you have top view, which you can click 7, and then you notice that it's on perspective, so you'll need to press 5 on the numpad so that you get the orthographic view. The orthographic view is flat, while the perspective has some foreshortening because it emulates what you see in real life. When you press 1, you go to the front view. I'll press 5 again so that you're on perspective, and you can see that when you're orthographic, sorry, not perspective, you can see the grid, and when you're on perspective, you don't have the grid. In orthographic, you have the grid. In perspective, you don't have the grid. So that's how you'll know, and it's also written at the top. When you press 3, you go to the right view, and then when you press 7, you go back to the top view. So as you model and move around your 3D environment, you're able to press either 7, 1 or 3 to be able to move around. So I'll go back to 7, which is the top view. Now in Blender, we select using the right click button. If you press the left click, it's able to move this cursor instead of selecting the object. So you'll need to press the right mouse button to be able to select an object when you want to. Now, if you want to add an object, for instance, let's first of all delete this one by pressing X. So you'll press Shift A and you're able to add an object, say a cube, and you can see the cube comes to where the cursor was. So if I put my cursor back there, then I delete this one. So I'll do Shift S and then I'll do cursor to center to make sure it goes where it's supposed to be. So Shift A and then I add a cube. So now we have a cube. You can see the dimension is here on the information. So the radius is 1, and I can change, say, the radius to be 0.2. You can see the cube is smaller, or 1, and you get a different size of cube. We'll get into scaling later on, and you'll be able to correspond these units with other units. So now we are on the top view. I'll delete that first, then we'll try to add a few more objects. We'll try to add a plane. If I press 1, you can see a plane is a flat surface, and you can see the dimension, still the radius is 1, and you can be able to change that. I'll do Shift A and add a circle. With the circle, you have the number of vertices. You can see the vertices. To zoom in and out, you need to scroll with your mouse button. I haven't mentioned that. You can see it has 32 vertices. If I change that to 16, you can see that it reduces. So each of these vertices is 16. If I change it to, say, 12, you can see it changes. If I change it even to 5, you have that. And then the radius is now 1. If I change it to 0.1, you get a small circle. 0.3, you get that. Yeah, so basically that's how you insert or add an object within Blender, and you're able to work on it. Now I'll go back to the cube, so I'll do Shift A, and then I add a cube. I'll leave the default size as 1. Then we would like to move it around. Now in Blender you have the different axes. You have the y-axis, which is green. You have the x-axis, which is red. And then you have the z-axis, which is blue. So that takes you up and down. So if I'm on the top view, if I click on this arrow, I'm able to move it up. If I click on the red one, I'm able to move it sideways. If I click on the blue one, I'm able to move it up and down. So another way to do that is to press G, and you're able to, so G is for grab, and you're able to move it around. And I can combine G with the letters of the axis. So if I say G, then I press Y, you can see that it's constrained on the Y axis. And if I press G, then X, you can see you're able to move it along the X axis. If I press G and then Z, I'm able to move it along the Z axis. So now I go back to the top view. And there are many other things that you can do, like now to scale it, to resize it. If I press S, you can see I'm able to make it smaller or bigger. And if I wanted to make a copy of this, that is to duplicate it, I can do Shift D, and you can see I'm able to duplicate so that I have more. The same item, I'm able to rotate it by pressing R. So then you're able to rotate it. And remember, for each of these operations, you can type in the value. You can see at the bottom here, there'll be a value. Once you press a command, you can see now it gives you whether you're rotating by how many degrees. I can put, say, 60 degrees. I can do R, I rotate it at 90 degrees. I can do R, I rotate it at, say, even 100 degrees. So you're able to rotate it at the angle that you want. So welcome to Blender. Now we'll get right started with the classes. Now we finished with the introduction part. So get right in, and we'll keep learning as we go along. I would recommend that you have a notebook so that you make a few notes on the various commands, and you're able to go back with them. Now Blender is not a plug and play that you just put it in and you're able to learn it. You actually have to dedicate some time and write a few notes. But within a short time, you find that the commands are easy to grasp, and you find that you're able to replicate and move around. So I'd encourage all of you to take a notebook, do a few notes as you go along, so that as we learn, we keep enjoying very well. And thank you very much. So now we'll move to the first lesson in the next video, where we're going to learn how to make pot. Then we'll continue step by step. If you like the videos, be sure to like it and subscribe for more videos, because there'll be more coming up in this channel. Thank you very much.